Welcome to How to Cake It. I'm Yolanda. Father's Day is around the corner. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, because today I am making a cake that looks like a bowl of chips and dip. This is the kind of cake you should make for your dad, put it on the couch beside him, get him a cold drink, put his feet up, don't touch the remote, it's his today, and let him watch whatever he wants to watch. Maybe he'll give you a chip. Maybe, but he doesn't have to. I have baked 2 chocolate cakes in whoa, these are masculine cakes. Yum!
Oh man, is that a lawnmower? That's probably a dad out there with a lawnmower.
These dads mowing lawns. Hold on, let me try. I got him to be a little bit quieter. Is it better?
It's getting louder.
I told him to turn the speed down. Okay, so I baked 2 12-inch round chocolate cakes. So I'm gonna remove them from my pans, level them, you know, then I'm gonna shape it. I chose chocolate because I love sweet and salty, especially with chocolate. So I think the chips on top of this are gonna be delicious. Are you a dad, Sir Squeeze-A-Lot? You never talk about your kids. Or are you just a sugar daddy? Sprinkling syrup on all these fine chocolate cakes.
Now Yolanda, we get this question all the time.
Tell me about it.
Does the syrup make the cake soggy?
No!
Thank you.
It does not. The cake is very dense, and it just keeps the moisture and locks in the moisture when we spend all this time decorating. Now I'm gonna make the dip for this chip and dip bowl cake. I'm using Italian meringue buttercream. I'm going to mix in green sprinkles because I think they look like herbs, red sugar, which I think will look like spice and flavor, and then these flat sort of chocolate sprinkles. And I think this will look like pepper and more spice. I just think it's all gonna look really interesting.
My dad would love if there was a butter dip.
Well, let's invent it. It's here. Call your dad. What do we think? More, less, more?
I think it's pretty dippy.
It's dippy.
Yeah.
This is looking dippin' delicious. We're gonna fill these 2 babies with that dip. Before I do this, I just wanted to tell you about something, but first I have to change my shirt. That's more appropriate. If you don't know yet, I am hosting Camp Cake, which is a 2-day live streaming baking event. You guys will be in your kitchen and comfortable. I'll be in here and we will bake together. I'm gonna be your camp counselor. I love this shirt because when I wore it, everybody was asking, where's Camp Cake? How do I sign up? When is it? And is it real? Yes, it's real. T-shirt change. I have a cake board here and I'm gonna assemble this cake upside down and save myself the trouble of flipping it. I'll only flip it at the end. Now, I'm gonna sandwich my other cake on top. I'm just gonna use the baby spatula to just wipe away the extra buttercream. You need to put this in the fridge to chill for like 10 minutes till your buttercream is firm and we can carve. So I'm gonna try and make this cake look like Chip over here, this chip and dip bowl. There's so much inside Chip. That's what I like about him.
He's deep.
He's deep.
Oh, snap.
Oh, Miss Jocelyn, is your phone off, Yolanda? Is your phone? And then she's just taking messages. I've put the bowl upside down. I'm gonna carve this shape you see right here, this A-line shape. I'm just placing a 10-inch pan on top of my 12-inch cake. I'm measuring to make sure it's in the center. So I'm gonna mark a circle. If I don't drop my knife. I'm gonna mark a circle and that will help me know my starting point for cutting out.
Cake scraps.
With buttercream.
With buttercream. Oh, next level cake scraps.
You know what time it is, right? Crumb coat and chill. Oh, Jocelyn, you're in. Okay. I am crumb coating with plain buttercream. You guys have been asking for a crumb coat and chill cake tea, which we love the idea of. So we took it up a notch and we're going to have available a crumb coat and chill apron. I'm gonna ice this cake as smoothly as I can, keeping the A-line shape. Let's do this. I'm going to put this cake in the fridge, and while it's chilling, you're not ready for this. I'm gonna dip chips in chocolate. I don't want you guys to be surprised that I'm using real chips because I love putting chips in cake. I love salty and sweet, especially with chocolate. I have some melted chocolate here. I'm just gonna dip the chips like halfway. I like a bit of an angle. And then shake off the excess. Not too hard, chips break. But if it breaks, you can just eat it. This looks like salt, but it's actually coarse sugar. Make sure to add the sugar when your chocolate is still wet, so it will stick to the surface. I've dipped 2 trays of chips, and now I'm going to drizzle some chips. Chocolate, this is awkward. This is awkward. This is when I could use another hand. There you go. Anytime I see something with my initial, I have to buy it. It's a rule I have. Drizzled chips. Can we call these Drizzy? You know I've been dying to call something Drizzy, right? Maybe he'll pay attention. Although my chips are completely ready for my cake is not ready for these chips. My cake needs to take it up a notch. It's ready for fondant and to be filled with these chips. I have about 3 pounds of fondant here, and you need fondant to get out the air bubbles to make it more pliable so that you can roll it out. I'm gonna roll out a band of fondant to represent this here. I'm just measuring the circumference of my cake so I know how long to roll out my band of fondant. I feel like I use the word circumference a lot. I use it on my blog a lot. I'm only cutting one edge, which is the edge that will meet the board. I'll cut the other edge when it's on the cake. Let's do this! This is always scary because it feels like it can slip off. Okay, now we'll use the smoother. Where's my brush? I'm like one of those temperamental artists. Where is my brush? I'm using my fondant smoother to smooth the fondant to the cake. I'm gonna cut away the excess fondant. I'm gonna cut a clean seam where the fondant meets. Okay. I'm just gonna smooth it back. I'm going to roll out another band of fondant. I'm gonna cut a thin strip and I'm gonna apply it to the cake to look like this rim. But first, it has to chill. The fondant band on my cake is now chilled. When I touch it, I can see that. So I'm gonna use this band of mat board to go all around the cake and mark, and then I can cut one even strip and leave it on the cake. Okay, now I need to cover the whole cake. Model, I'm sorry, you've been wonderful. Can you wait over here in the waiting room? Thank you. My fondant is definitely as thin as I want it to be. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. And to make sure that it will be able to drape over the entire cake and hit the board, you want to measure up the side, across the top, and down the other side. Make sure to measure your circle each way, or in a few different directions, to make sure it's not actually an oval. I'm going to use my French rolling pin to pick up this fondant and drape it over my cake. Get the edges first. It's good practice. The edge is where it would crack just because of the weight pulling down. Now, you will find air bubbles sometimes at the top of your cake, especially near the edge. So I like to work them all to one area and then prick a little hole with a pin on an angle and just guide that air out. Just say, air, you're not welcome here. Now you can start to see the ridge that I added with the band of fondant first. So because this fondant down here is touching fondant, what I need to do is wet the fondant underneath. The reason I didn't do it first is if this fondant draped over and stuck to it, it would be hard to peel away. We were actually Facebook Living during some parts of this video, and I talked about when I choose to use water or piping gel when I'm sticking fondant to fondant. How do I make these important choices? We always Facebook Live when shooting videos, so make sure to follow me. You never know what you could learn, and you'll hear more of Jocelyn. I just want to really accentuate that rim. Before I trim excess fondant off the base of any cake, I always push it in with my fingertips right up against the cake. And this is because fondant has elasticity, so sometimes you think it's right down in the corner and then you cut and it sort of bounces back, so you don't want that. Use the very tip of your knife, the sharpest point, and go all the way around. Now my bowl is ready for that lip that I rolled out earlier and chilled. I'm gonna mimic the beautiful lips of this bowl. You have nice lips. I'm going to lift this band off the board, and I'm gonna use one of my favorite tools, which is not a cake decorating tool. This is for mincing vegetables. Just making sure they're cut right through. I only need 2 strips, but they're thin. Sometimes they warp. I'm gonna add a bit of water to the cake, just at the base all the way around, so that my strips will stick to the fondant. The lip is on, the ridge is sharp. I need to put this cake in the fridge to chill so that I can... While my cake is chilling, I need to make the inner dip bowl. To do that, I'm using the same blue fondant, but I'm gonna add a touch of CMC to it. I often like to use CMC rather than try to dye gum paste the exact same blue. If you wanna learn more about CMC and where you can get it, it will be in my blog. There's a link in the description. I wanna roll this in a thick band that will be long enough to fit around my circle cutter. So I'm just gonna measure the circumference. Here I go. I'm just gonna wrap it around and then I'm gonna cut the seam clean. My little dip bowl is ready. I'm gonna put it to the side and get out the cake because it's time to 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's dip bowl time. I'm going to create a little secret chamber. I'm gonna push this in just a little bit to make a mark. And now I'm gonna use a spoon just to dig out a secret chamber. I don't wanna go all the way down to the bottom, just sort of halfway. Now I'm gonna ice a thin layer of my dip buttercream on top of the cake. That will help my chips stick as well as my little dip rim. I wanna pick up my dip bowl with my cutter inside just to make sure that I don't warp it while picking it up. I wanna pick it up fast, place it, and take the cutter away. The next step is filling this with dip. Be careful not to get your dip bowl dirty. I mean, you can get a bit of it dirty. I mean, realistically, that's what would happen. I'm not sure if I have enough chips. Normally I would eat all the broken chips. I'm gonna use some of them so that they look like they're in deeper, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna begin with a base layer of plain chips and then start to add in the fancier chips. I never made sure these were okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the chip and dip cake. Make this for your father. It will get you out of anything. Did you dent your father's car when you borrowed it? Girls, did you sneak out with that boy that your dad told you is no good? Chip and dip cake. This cake will get you ungrounded. Make it today. This is a hunk of cake. This is what I would call a cake hunk.
That's so true, actually. This is
It's a hunk.
Yeah.
Mmm. 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 It's a cakeatizer. Imagine you get this at a party. There's no dainty way to eat this, people. Chip drop. That's just, I mean, it fell flat. It's okay, I still have cake. I'll be down there.
Bye,
Oh, bye. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And you know what other special date is coming up, Jocelyn?
Well,
My birthday, July 21st. And what I really want is 2 million subscribers. That's not a lot to ask for, is it?
no.